horror games have different rules from horror movies. Free from the shackles of fake blood budgets or what self-respecting actors are prepared to do on camera, game developers can really let loose. Sometimes, however, intense and earnest efforts to be scary result in the opposite effect, which is an unintended moment of hilarity in your otherwise terrifying game. Steady your nerves for these 7 unintentionally hilarious moments in horror games, and beware spoilers for the following.
Take a picture of me. Yeah, for your little subscribers or whatever, top 10 guys who will keep you satisfied at summer camp.
You've got to feel for Jacob, one of the 9 playable characters in 2022 Gurnfest, the Quarry. Jacob doesn't deserve his fate, and that's despite being a walking bingo card of douchebaggery. Let's see. Backwards cap, tick. Chat up lines such as this one.
Okay, well, I guess we could just drip dry, or you could shake it out doggy style.
Tick. And his greatest crime, dropping litter.
You spider f***.
But it's a struggle to argue that littering is justification for being terrorised by werewolves or watching his mates get mauled to death and fatally nibbled by said werewolves. And worst of all, Jacob endures nearly the whole terrifying ordeal in only his underwear.
Hey, does anybody have any dry clothes? I'm freezing.
All our bags are still in the minivan.
Jacob strips off in this scene to go for a romantic and not at all foreboding night swim with Emma.
We agreed. Summer fun, right? Apparently, summer is not quite over.
Little does he know he won't get a spare minute to get dressed again until the credits roll. Which, don't get me wrong, is funny in itself, but it pales in comparison to the frankly suspicious speed with which he gets undressed. In one short cutaway, Jacob manages to remove every last bit of his ensemble like it was all Magic Mike tearaway trousers, and he was just waiting for the signal.
Look, you can't just pretend that it didn't happen.
Oh, but I can, because you see, oh, help! I'm drowning, and I need a big, strong, not at all insecure man to come save me.
He even has time to regain his composure and adopt a nice casual "what me? Got changed ages ago" pose before the camera returns to him. Oh, yeah, harder than it looks. Fair play, Jacob.
Your plans are finished, Wesker.
There's no way out this time.
Don't you two ever tire of failing in your mission?
Thanks to the magic of QTEs, in Resident Evil 5 you're never too far from an abrupt and humiliating demise. As Chris and Sheva make their way through a 12-hour assault course of short-notice button prompts, the sense of tension and terror does hit the odd wobble. Like this moment, when Chris loses his grip on Sheva and provokes the most passive-aggressive death scene in gaming history as she plunges to her doom through a plane cargo door. We all know that face. It's the "this is bull" face. Sheva knows she's going to die, and in her last moments on Earth, she chooses to invoke the expression of someone who's just been scored on in FIFA. And if Chris didn't want to be haunted by a lifetime of traumatic flashbacks to that resigned expression every day for the rest of his life, well, should have been a bit quicker on those triggers, shouldn't he? But the best moment of all happens on that very same cargo plane. After Wesker tells you his plan to spread the Ouroboros virus throughout the world in the kind of extraneous detail that only supervillains bother going into, he begins sprinting towards Chris. And if you fail the QTE, you get this. Where'd you learn how to do that? I've got a really big jar I need to open. Wesker's so confident that the neck twist he administered mid-aerial flip must be fatal that he doesn't even bother looking back at Chris to make sure. Then there's the fact that Sheva still isn't shooting him, even though he's now just standing still and enjoying the moment. Finally, "You Are Dead" appears on screen, to help out any players that felt the neck-breaking execution they just witnessed was a bit ambiguous. Ah, what, from that? Just splash a bit of first aid spray on it. It'll be fine.
O'Neill, there's all these husks in the sewer. What kind of bugs are these?
Damn it. You ran into those? There are some still alive down there, so move slowly, Winter. Near as I can tell, they're attracted to sound. But if one gets close, stand perfectly still until it goes away.
Framing the shot is crucially important in the world of horror because the scariest stuff always lives just off camera where your mind can fill in the details. I'm sure that's just the pipes. In the original Alien movie, you never see the xenomorph from head to toe, nor do you get a good look at how it walks. It's a good job too, because according to Alien's colonial marines, xenomorphs walk like they're trying to make it across the landing to the toilet in the middle of the night without waking anyone. Its structural perfection is matched only by its need to go wee-wee. Don't worry though, because there's a perfectly reasonable, law-friendly explanation for this. These are boiler aliens, a subbreed of your classic xenomorph that's horribly deformed and broken. And not just because it appears in Alien's colonial marines. Boilers have severely impaired senses and a terrible attention span, leaving them basically blind and unable to sense their surroundings like a healthy xenomorph. So they wander around aimlessly, chasing you if they pick up your vibrations, and then instantly giving up if you stand still. If standing still isn't your forte, then you'll discover why these defective xenomorphs are called boilers. Oh, I guess he held it in for too long. This is why you should never wait to go.
Here you go. The usual. 1 turkey, strawberry jam, and cereal sandwich.
Sounds like the sinner's sandwich.
In 2010 open-world horror and playable Twin Peaks fanfic Deadly Premonition, you play an FBI agent who's sent to a backwater town in the Pacific Northwest to investigate the murder of a teenage girl.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please just call me York. It's what everyone else calls me.
Once you arrive in Greenvale, wouldn't you know it, the town's full of kooky characters. But probably none more kooky than protagonist Agent Morgan himself, seen here discussing some rather sensitive case details at mealtime.
He sawed their heads off from the neck and took them back to his house. He cleaned the skulls up and used them as utensils in his daily life, to eat from or as a urine cup.
Yeah, cancel that delivery. Don't really fancy it anymore. That's not the only time Deadly Premonition will put you off your dinner. Consider this moment when it seems to have entirely forgotten about being a horror game and instead devotes an entire 3 minutes to this cutscene about a sandwich.
Our special today is turkey. A turkey and gravy sandwich. Sound good?
Perfect.
Agent Morgan's enjoying his own perfectly reasonable turkey and gravy sandwich down at the diner with Emily when mystery man and gas mask enthusiast Mr. Stewart arrives. Oh, and that assistant of his who always talks in rhymes.
I am here for Mr. Stewart's lunch. If it is ready, I'd thank you a bunch.
He must be absolutely dreading the day Mr. Stewart comes in here and orders an orange. Not today, though. Today, Mr. Stewart wants a sinner's sandwich, which transpires is a turkey sandwich with jam and cereal. For some reason, Morgan seems to know all about this totally not a thing sandwich and tells Emily it's a form of self-punishment.
Self-inflicted punishment to atone for past sins. He's setting an example.
Quick one, Agent Morgan. Aren't you here to solve a murder? Should we maybe be getting back to the murder solving? Or...
You should try this wonderful lunch. It's more than a delicious, tasty crunch.
Not yet, because there's what feels like 4 years more of cutscene about this sandwich, accompanied by music from a 2002 skate montage video.
I can't believe it. This is fantastic. It's really good.
This is the dramatic reveal in which it turns out the sandwich actually tastes good? Bear in mind this is a town in which supernatural events are commonplace, as is grisly murder. Then consider this is how they're reacting to the idea a sandwich tastes all right after all? I'll be the judge of that.
Mary, could you really be in this this town.
There's one thing for sure about horror protagonists. Present them with a puzzle and they will wander around like unattended toddlers, interacting with anything and everything with no regard for logic or their personal safety. This is especially troublesome with, say, James Sunderland wandering around the famously gross scenery of Silent Hill 2. I don't know why you need me to tell you this, James, but no, you don't need to be touching this stuff. Or that stuff. Leave it. The worst example of James's childlike inquisitive nature, though, happens in this bathroom. Oh, it's blocked, is it? Never mind. Probably not worth worrying about. Let's not forget that the thing you're searching for is a full-size human woman who definitely wouldn't fit in a toilet bowl, so there'd really be no point in reaching it. Oh. At least roll your sleeves up first, for pity's sake. James's amateur plumbing endeavours are so out of place that they even get this callback in Silent Hill 3. At one point, when Heather is confronted with a similar quandary in a bathroom, she takes the opportunity to make absolutely clear that this is not acceptable behaviour, even when you're trying to survive a Silent Hill.
Oh, forget it. This is way too gross. Who would even think of doing something so disgusting?
Who indeed, Heather? James, can you think of anyone?
No, he's busy. Never mind.
Laughs are notoriously hard to come by in PT. A haunting gameplay aperitif from Hideo Kojima that, to be fair, was never really going for the whole hilarity thing, since it's a demo for a planned horror game that never was. Anyone looking to construct a tight five using material that they picked up in a suburban home with a fetus in the sink is in for a tough gig, much like the unnamed protagonist of PT themselves, who is stuck in an endlessly looping L-shaped corridor in this house of a man who's killed his entire family. More like Groundhog Slay. Am I right, folks? This thing on? However, a particularly dark form of levity can be found in the grotty bathroom. Just listen to the sink, baby.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register.
I don't know how you put out a casting call for this role, but presumably it said film noir detective rather than supernatural fetus.
Only reason she could earn a wage at all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right?
A truly disturbing and conflictingly funny sound. Second only to the sound of eBayers tapping an extra zero on their keyboards as they set the buy it now price of their PS4s that still have the now discontinued PT installed on them. For shame, eBayers. For shame.
When I find him... No, Mother Miranda. Yes, of course, I understand the importance of the ceremony. I won't let you down. Oh! To hell with the ceremony! That man will pay for what he's done.
Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village protagonist Ethan Winters leads a rich and varied life. His hobbies include sampling exotic cuisine like plates of indeterminate grey matter served up by cannibal murderers in a kitchen that at the very least could do with a wipe down.
Eat it. It's good.
He also enjoys holidaying in abandoned Romanian villages that lie in the shadow of massive foreboding castles.
Where the hell am I?
And hey, practicing his favourite haunting melodies on the piano. Why, Ethan, that's beautiful. Unfortunately, he also has a habit of getting his limbs chopped off. Deep in the castle dungeon in Resident Evil Village, when Ethan is being pursued down dank corridors by a confusingly gorgeous giant lady, he finds this switch. And this is the moment where wince-inducing injury tips over into the sort of shocked, horrified laughter that there's almost certainly a specific word for in German. And just as he was making some headway on the piano too.
Like I'd let you get away. You'll be sliced to ribbons before you ever see each other.
Having his hands mutilated being roughly a weekly occurrence for Ethan now, it doesn't slow him down too much. And before too long, he's escaped Lady Dimitrescu, found a lift back to the surface, and poured on some chem fluid which not only reconnected his hand, but apparently stitched his coat back together too.
Good. Man, screw this castle.
Alright, scratch castle exploration off of Ethan's list of hobbies. At least piano playing's back on though.
You know, actually, it's not that bad. Other things that are not that bad are our videos. Oh, I'm so good at selling us. You can watch me here. And you can go over also, Outside Xbox do lots of videos just like this. I mean, they technically came first, so we're sort of doing their thing, but that's why they hired us, so whatever. So go check those out. If you want to support us, if you want to reimburse me for this really weird sandwich, you can join our Patreon. That helps us to make more of this delicious food. Or you can just subscribe and like this video and send a comment down below with like those moments that just made you giggle in horror games when you shouldn't really have giggled. Let us know, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Right, I'll go and get you some water.
And thanks, John.